Today, we're chasing a ghost. Not just any ghost, though. This one haunts the very heart of mathematics, and it revealed some pretty profound and totally inescapable limits of logic itself.
So let's start with a really big question, one that sounds almost simple. Can every single true statement actually be proven? I mean, it seems like it should be, right? If something's true, you should be able to show it. For a long, long time, mathematicians were convinced the answer was a big fat yes. Turns out they were wrong, dead wrong.
And to understand why they were so wrong, we've got to rewind the clock. We're going back to the beginning of the 20th century. It was this time of incredible optimism, this moment defined by a single grand quest, a quest for absolute certainty.
You see, mathematicians back then wanted to put their entire field on this perfect, totally unshakable foundation. Think of it like building a fortress of logic. The goal was to create a system so complete, so consistent, that you could answer any mathematical question, and you'd know for sure that the answers were solid, with zero contradictions.
And the guy leading this charge? A brilliant mathematician named David Hilbert. And let me tell you, he was not shy about his goals. He famously said he wanted to basically solve the problem of mathematical truth once and for all. Talk about ambition.
So his plan, which we now call Hilbert's program, was incredibly ambitious, but it was also kind of straightforward. It really boiled down to two big steps. First, formalize everything. I mean, everything. Turn all of mathematics into a super strict set of rules and basic truths, or axioms. And second, and this is the really clever part, use that same system to prove that it's consistent. To show without a shadow of a doubt that the rules could never, ever lead you to a crazy paradox.
I mean, it was a beautiful dream, right? A perfectly ordered universe of math. But into this world stepped a quiet, totally unassuming logician. And he was about to become the ghost in this pristine machine.
And here's what's so wild. This logician, Gödel, he didn't find a mistake in the logic. No, what he found was something so much deeper. He found an unavoidable limitation, like a crack running right through the foundation of any system, like the one Hilbert wanted to build.
So how did he do it? Well, his secret weapon was a really old logical trick, self-reference. You've probably heard of the classic example, the liar paradox. It's the sentence, "This statement is false." Just think about that for a second. If it's true, well then it has to be false. But if it's false, that means it's true. It's this impossible, unbreakable loop. Your brain just kind of short circuits.
Okay, and this is where Gödel's absolute genius comes into play. He figured out a way to translate that brain-bending liar paradox into the pure, cold, hard language of math. He literally created a mathematical statement, we call it a Gödel sentence now, that basically said, about itself, this statement cannot be proven.
And that one incredibly clever self-referential sentence, it completely blew Hilbert's beautiful dream to pieces. It led to two truths that you just can't escape, and they were totally revolutionary.
So the clash here was just absolute. On one side, you've got Hilbert's dream, a complete system where every true thing is provable and you can prove the system is consistent. And then, bam, Gödel's reality crashes the party. His work was a knockout punch, showing that actually both of those goals were completely impossible.
This brings us to his first bombshell, the First Incompleteness Theorem. And what it says is this: in any logical system that's powerful enough to handle basic arithmetic, you will always find statements that are true, but that you can never ever prove using the rules of that system. Think about that. There are true things out there that are just unprovable.
But wait, there's more. He wasn't done yet. The Second Incompleteness Theorem was the real nail in the coffin for Hilbert's dream. It says that a system like this, well, it can never prove its own consistency. You just can't use the rules of the game to prove that the rules of the game are sound. It's impossible. The fallout from this was huge. That grand quest for absolute, provable certainty in math, it didn't just hit a wall. It turned out it was logically impossible from the very beginning.
So, where does that leave us? What does it actually mean to live in a world where truth and proof aren't the same thing? Well, welcome to the age of incompleteness.
The biggest change was really philosophical. Gödel basically showed that math isn't some closed little rule book that we just need to finish writing. No, it's more like an infinite open universe. There are always new truths out there, just beyond the horizon of what we can formally prove.
And don't think this is just some weird little corner case, some rare exception. The reality is, it's now believed that the vast majority of interesting, complex mathematical questions are what we call undecidable. That means they might be true or they might be false, but we can never, ever formally prove which one.
And the ripples from this discovery spread way, way beyond math. Think about physics. It makes you wonder if a single, complete theory of everything is even possible. Or computer science. It proves you can never write a program that can perfectly check every other program for bugs. This ghost didn't just haunt math, it completely changed how we think about knowledge, period.
So if you take one thing away from this, it's the core message of Gödel's ghost. Any powerful system of logic, doesn't matter if it's in math, science, or philosophy, is eventually going to run smack into its own limits. Certainty has a boundary.
And that leaves us with a pretty deep question to chew on, right? If even the super clean, pristine world of pure math has these unprovable truths and shaky foundations, what does that say about all of our other much messier systems of knowledge? I mean, where else are these limits of certainty just hiding in plain sight?